Hello, Oilers fans. I'm glad that nobody is making fun of me. Oh, Calgary host can't remember to unmute his microphone. That's only a common trait between me and Audie. So we'll start from ground zero. My name's Conrad Krausert. I'm here from the home of ginger beef, coming to you the home of delicious green onion pancakes. And technology has been my friend today. I got called in late to do this one, so hopefully none of you Oilers friends are going to make fun of me too badly for that one. Oh, and that means I have to do the ad read again, so we'll go quickly into this. We'll pretend that never happened, folks. So shift into hyperdrive and get ready to have some fun with your news source for all the biggest stories in hockey, bringing a unique style of broadcasting and commentary with a Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top-tier hockey analysis, big stories, pop culture, and a damn fun atmosphere that will drive debate, make you think, and more. Join Max Van Oot, Daphne Malboeuf, and Kevin Larmé every Tuesday and Wednesday for a fill-in on the hockey world. Watch on YouTube or the Game Over Network channel, or subscribe where you catch your podcast, whether it be on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon. Make sure to like and review. Really helps us. And if you want more information, head on over to the Game Over Network website, thegameovernetwork.com, for more information. Now, I had this whole thing about how it was the battle of the young stars all across Alberta, as Connor Bedard and the Sharks' young star Macklin Celebrini both coming into Alberta. But I guess I can rehash that despite my mic not being on previously. So yeah, it's been a good day and for those young stars, but the young star that I don't think anyone really had on their radar who's shown the brightest was the young goaltender Yaroslav Askarov, who it could generally be called tumultuous or potentially downright hostile how he found his way to San Jose in the offseason after effectively demanding his way out of Nashville. Comes in and puts up a huge performance against the Oilers. Almost steals the game, but high-end talent saves the day for the Oilers yet again. And it turns the focus back to Northern Alberta. I'm going to run this like I run a Calgary Flames postgame. I go through the scoring summary just so if you didn't catch early, which, hey, if you missed the first period, you missed a lot of this game. But we'll go through it just like I do my show, and I'll get to your questions and comments as we go. Once again, just a late call in, so I apologize, folks, if this is a little scatterbrained. So Luke Cunnin opens the scoring 3 minutes in. I thought the Oilers had a lot of jump, but just getting to a loose puck does a lot of good things. And then you had Wenberg racing all the way in down below the Oilers goal line, puts it back out front, and Luke Cunnin scores his 9th of the year. Kind of silenced the Edmonton faithful a little bit until Zach Hyman, wearing the fishbowl, 2 black eyes, got the tape over his nose so that he can still breathe through whatever's left of the cartilage in there. You can't let number 97 skate all the way around your net and hope good things will happen, because we all know as fans of hockey, that is not a route to success. Goes all the way around behind the net after taking a little bit of a slip pass from Evan Bouchard. And then 97 finds the seam and Zach Hyman finds the twine. But just over a minute later, Jan Ruda, his first of the season, assists to Wallman and Celebrini, just left all alone in the center of the ice, and a goal that I definitely think the Oilers want back. Obviously, it was not Campbell or Skinner. I'm going back a few seasons thinking of Campbell. But no, it wasn't Stuart Skinner. It was Calvin Pickard, the backup goaltender, journeyman, getting the start today, and I think he wants that one back. But we'll talk a little bit about both goaltenders as we go on. The Oilers managed to fire 23 shots in the second, but cannot find a hole in Askarov. And then they fire 8 in the third period, and it's only the last one that matters. What a week for Mattias Ekholm as he takes a pretty passing play started by guess who, Connor McDavid. And then Corey Perry, usually he's a net front guy. That's why I have him in my fantasy roster at the very least. He kind of trailed off to the side of Askarov's net and almost was like that bumper position you see on the power play. Just knocked it back, and Mattias Ekholm buries it. The 41st shot of the game for the Oilers finds its way through, only 18 seconds remaining in the third. And we have overtime, and overtime didn't last long either. Oilers win the draw. You see Leon breaking down, drops it back to Bouchard. Bouchard gets it to McDavid, and just leaving Macklin Celebrini in the dust. Draisaitl, after missing a couple wide open 6x4 frames late in the third period, makes good of it and takes the extra point in overtime. So that's where the scoring came from. But I don't think the story of this game is the goals. I think we would be foolish to think that the story of this game was anything other than performance of Askarov. Like, as much as Oilers fans understand this, the rest of the league doesn't. You just came in as a rookie goaltender. Well, not a rookie. It's his third year in the league. Yada, yada, yada. It's his first time getting a extended run as the number one goaltender. Obviously, you just saw the trade sending Mackenzie Blackwood to Colorado. And the net since that trade has belonged to Askarov. It hasn't been Georgiev because, let's be honest, Georgiev hasn't been that good this year. So you're letting this young goaltender who believed in himself so hard he effectively demanded his way out of Nashville. Was it Nashville? My brain's correct. Yes, I'm not high on drugs. But let's be honest, like, this is a goaltender that a lot of people in the hockey world were writing off. Not understanding why he was asking out of what a lot of people thought was a great situation, getting to build up slowly. But this young goaltender out of Omsk, Russia said, no, I think I'm ready now. Goes to San Jose, starts the year in the Barracuda, has to fight his way into this position. But oh boy, was that maybe the announcement to the rest of the league, staring down two of the best goal scorers in the league, taking them all the way beyond the distance, beyond 60 minutes, and stealing a point for the lowly San Jose Sharks. Gonna look in the chat here just a little bit to see if there's any contrary opinions. Pickard's double pad stack save was epic, made a difference. I might have missed that because, as I said, I had 2 games going on. But, you know, it was really, it seemed to be a tale of 2 games for the Oilers. There was the early game where the Sharks kind of proved that they've got bite. They can play with any team in the league. As we know, there's 32 teams in the league. You play everyone. And it seemed like the Sharks came into this one in the first period like, this is our Stanley Cup. We may not have postseason or much positivity to play for this year, but we're going to play this game against the team that nearly won a Stanley Cup last year, came back and nearly defeated the Panthers. We're going to come in and we're going to play our style of game and see what that means at the end. And hey, as I said, one early initial goal, one fluky one that finds its way under Pickard. And then 40 minutes of defense, or let's nearly call it 50 minutes of defensive hockey, and they nearly get it across the line. But for the Oilers, you really started to see some of the red flags that a lot of people have brought up. And so I'm going to actually hold that thought and bring it over to period number 2. And before we get there, do have another ad read. Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community inclusion and quality people. If you're interested in supporting what we do here at the Game Over Network, whether that's here on the Oilers channel, down south on the Calgary channel, or any one of the Canadian markets, or hey, even if you go watch Graham Mosimann on the network channel itself, please consider giving your support financially as well. Down in the description, we have a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche. If you haven't heard of LaRouche, not a lot of people have, it is a similar thing, but it links into the Quebec government in some fun ways. Moral of the story is, if we raise $15,000, we get access to a bunch of grant money from the Quebec government, and it'll allow us to employ more people and increase the rates that we give to all of our amazing hosts across the network. So if you have any ideas what you want in terms of giveaways or content that we could add into our Patreon or onto LaRouche as exclusives, hit us up in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, our Discord server, and we've also got most of our hosts over to Blue Sky. So use any of those communications. Tell us what you want to see. I know down in Calgary we were kind of joking about doing a cricket stream because we've got a couple of us know a little bit about that. I think Avry might know some cricket, or hey, maybe me and Avry will do a how do we bring back FC Edmonton into the Canadian Premier League. But anyways, some of the red flags. Inconsistent play from the defenseman, I think, would have to be one of the major red flags that I hear from both Oilers fans Oilers fans within the fandom and those who are kind of just looking from outside. From what I saw, Darnell Nurse looked okay, even though he's at a -1 tonight. I'm really concerned about the play of Brett Kulak. I think he's starting to regress a little bit. Obviously, I don't think a lot of people in Edmonton want to hear that, especially for a guy that you're using to rely upon to log 20 plus minutes a night. And like, when you look at these minute breakdowns, you have 2 pairings of defensemen on this club. You have, it's usually Bouchard and Ekholm and Nurse and Kulak. But then you have a guy like Emberson and Troy Stetcher playing all of 12 and 11 minutes. So what happens when Darnell Nurse takes a tripping penalty? Or Ekholm takes a hold? You're throwing in these, I don't even necessarily think they're replacement level players. You're throwing guys to the Wolves, or you're double shifting Bouch or Nurse. And I don't necessarily think that's a plan for success in the modern NHL. Especially because the way I think Kulak's regressing, if he's on the ice, is I don't think his foot speed's necessarily there. And I could be wrong. I'm not watching the Oilers every game. I'm watching as much as I can because I think they're an entertaining team. But I just don't necessarily think that's a way to success. And obviously, I'm cheering for a team that has $18 million in cap space, and I think the Oilers may have about $18 in cap space. So you don't have the luxury of being able to afford the battalion of rotational players down the lineup. But like, Troy Stetcher played 11 minutes in tonight's game, and I just don't think, in my opinion, that's a way that success can be built for this squad. As well, you saw in the third period, you're down a goal, so we saw a lot of Hyman, a lot of Draisaitl, and a lot of Connor McDavid. And as much as you love to see McDavid and Draisaitl play together because they're two of the best players in the NHL, is it over reliance at this point? Is it proving that this is effectively a one-line team once again? You even heard it on the broadcast that there was not a lot of positive comments about when it wasn't Hyman, Draisaitl, and McDavid on the ice. Like I think it was Podkolzin, Hopkins, or RNH, I guess we'll call him. I think it was Henrique that was out there with them. I could be wrong. It could have been Arvidsson. But whenever they came on the ice, it was like, this is just a shift until you can get the big guys out. Is that a way to be successful in the modern NHL? But who am I to say? Because this is a very similar team to the one that got one game away from the Stanley Cup last year. And obviously, Flames-colored glasses on. You can see all the red and yellow behind me. But it just doesn't make sense to me when you have more than 3 guys who are skating less than 15 minutes a night. Like, I don't know. And you're scratching a guy like Derek Ryan on the regular, which I understand. He's a fan favorite of mine because, hey, I lived 2 years in Edmonton and I actually shared a room. From what I was told, I lived at St. Joseph's College at U of A. I was told it was the room Derek Ryan stayed in. I can't be sure. But it's, to me as an outsider, those are the 2 red flags I see watching this game and looking at how the NHL is now. I could be wrong. And as I said, you have all these flaws, but you're still winning games. And where did the Oilers stack up in terms of standings as of right now? Oilers currently sit in 3rd place in the Pacific above the Calgary Flames. 42 points, so they're 3 points clear of my favorite team just down the QE2. 1 point shy of LA in the same number of games played. And for a team that's had monumental struggles to start the year, you're probably happy with that. You're probably thinking this is a story we saw last year, and until the final game when that ended, you were pretty happy with how that story went. So if you can repeat that, you're probably somewhat happy, if not all the way happy. Okay, and I think I'm going to keep this somewhat brief and to the point. So we'll head into period number 3. Where'd my ads go? So Game Over has you covered after the game, but in order to get ready to watch your favorite team and your favorite sport in general, you got to get your game on too. Game On Hockey is a short-form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know about the hockey world in under 10 minutes. Hosted by Graham Mosimann Monday through Friday, except they're on a bit of a holiday break. Graham's actually currently working. So, hosted by Graham Mosimann on the Game Over Network YouTube channel and in podcast form, which you can find over at thegameovernetwork.com. And we have been told to expect Game On Network, so Game On Edmonton, to return in the new year. So keep your eyes peeled to your podcatchers for that one. So the third period, Macklin Celebrini, his first trip north of the border. How did the Oilers play against the number 1 overall draft pick of last year's draft? Macklin had 1 assist. It was a secondary assist on the first goal, and didn't have a shot until the third period. So, all in all, pretty good handling of a surging player. Like, let's be honest, in the last few weeks, He has been very, very good. But does get the point. Had a couple of absolute robberies from Calvin Pickard and was a -1, and it looks like, no, it hasn't been on the stat sheet yet. But this is a guy who's already at 22 points, and you hold him to 1 assist. So he's at 23 because that part hasn't been updated. I think you kind of have to be happy with that. Are you 100% happy? No, because he did get the 3 high danger chances in the second, or in the third rather. So they got 3 shots total in the second. I think you have to really at least give your defense props for that. And figure out how you can eliminate some of those opportunities that guys like Macklin Celebrini can generate with their foot speed. Because, yes, you have the fastest skater with the best acceleration in the world in number 97 on your own squad. But it's something to look at, because if you look at teams in your division, there's a lot of teams now that have one of those guys who can fly. Obviously for the Sharks, that's Macklin Celebrini. If you look at my Flames, it's guys like Connor Zary and Peltier. Los Angeles may be the exception to that rule now that I'm thinking about it. Vancouver, when Elias Pettersson is what he can be, his foot speed's pretty all right. And it seems that may be an area that teams are looking to take advantage of against this Oilers team. Because as I said, Nurse isn't the most quick of skaters in a straight line. Kulak, I think, has lost a step. Bouchard, obviously, he's fine. The Bouch bomb can get there quickly, but Ekholm as well. So I guess maybe I'm just saying that second pairing's a little too slow in the foot speed. And that can be exploited. But maybe your forwards are quick enough to cover for that. But I don't see any comments in the chat. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Hey, even if it's just to smack talk my Calgary Flames, be like, oh, we're finally above you in the standings. Yeah. I deserve it. If you're in chat, throw them in there. I will make sure to let you know what I think. But we got one last ad read. And did I get those ready to go? I think I did. No, I did not. Oops. So you have to look at our Game Over Calgary layout on our merch. What better way to support something you love than by rocking this clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, or want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our Live and Die by the Goalie design, or if you just need another mug to get you through the miserable, miserable Alberta winters, we've got you covered on that too. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. You can head on over to thegameovernetwork.com. On the taskbar, it'll have your team there, and you can go directly to the Edmonton shop, so you don't have to look at these ugly red and yellow sweaters again. And just a reminder, we do have the code, and this is case sensitive, I've heard. Capital G, capital O, capital H holidays for 15% on all of our new winter products, hoodies, and the Game Over Network beanie. This is active until December 25th, with a different sale dropping on socials on Boxing Day. So make sure to get your Game Over merch, specifically your Game Over Edmonton merch today. And of course, I went to the wrong screen. And I went to the wrong screen again. Oh, technology is great, ladies and gentlemen. All right. There we go. Back on everything. So, I don't know if your Oilers hosts have done this yet. But you know what? I think this is, and it was the Oilers' last game before Christmas. So I'm going to do something that the whole network has kind of been trying to do. And that's Naughty or Nice and the wish list for these teams. Of course, me being a Flames fan, my initial thought for the Naughty or Nice is that the Edmonton Oilers have been naughty because they've overtaken Flames for the third spot in the Pacific. But if I have to look at this through an Oilers viewpoint, I think the Oilers have been nice since about the 1 mark in point. Because there was a little bit of a cup hangover through that first couple weeks where the Oilers were a disappointing team. They weren't competitive, they weren't in games, they weren't emotionally involved, I'll call it. But that has improved vastly over the last, let's call it month and a half. So to be going into Christmas in a playoff position from where this season started is nice to the fan base. Now, this is something I did with Matt DeMille over on our program, but it was kind of looking at a want or a wish list for this Oilers team. And I think talking with Avry as I do on our Discord and kind of watching and having enough Oilers friends, I think the wish list is probably a bottom 4 NHL defenseman on a controlled deal. Probably if we had to put a player want. But for the Oilers, I think what they want is consistency. Because this is a team that has been up and down all year. So I think if you, as an Oilers fan, can find a team after Christmas that is righting the ship to where it's not the end of the world when 1 week and you're on top of the world the next, I think most Oilers fans would be happy with that. Would I be happy with it as a Flames fan? No, I kind of want the Oilers to slip and fall on the banana peel at the top of the stairs. But I recognize that this Oilers team can be a juggernaut, but it can also get in its own way. So I think consistency is the best way to get out of that. But for me personally, I'll put my wish list at get Derek Ryan back in the lineup. I don't know if he's on the IR. I think Derek Ryan is one of the best face-off men in the league. And if the Flames and Oilers didn't have this immense hatred of trading back between the two of them. Yeah, his last game was December 16th, where it was even with 7 minutes played. Yeah, if there wasn't this seeming hatred between trading between these two clubs, I would love Derek Ryan as a Calgary Flame for this year. I want to see more Derek Ryan. I think he's a great story. Going through the University of Alberta Golden Bears, battling his way for an NHL spot. And hey, maybe they're just saving game number 600 for a special event for Derek Ryan. But I want to see more DR. See more of the doctor. But since there are no questions or comments from the chat, I think this may be where we call it. I know it's a little bit shorter of a game over, but that's what happens when you get the substitute teacher called in. So if you want to see more of me and you want to come talk some smack in chat, I'm more than welcoming you to come listen to Game Over Calgary on the Game Over Calgary channel. Graham, Avry, and all the rest of your Game Over Edmonton hosts will return after Christmas. And Austin, that was the other name I couldn't remember. Austin will be back after Christmas. I hope you guys have a very happy holiday break. I hope for those of you who believe in Santa, you can come on down the chimney and bring Christmas cheer. For those of you who do not celebrate that holiday, hopefully the snow stops up in Edmonton. If you want to be a little bit jealous, it's 1 degree Celsius in Calgary right now, and the snow is melting. But anyways, that's it for me, Conrad Krausert. Your regular host will return after Christmas, but thank you so very much. Have a very happy holidays, and we'll see you around. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's why the outro's not going. Ugh, it's one of those days, folks.